Tyler, the breaking news obviously today is Bill Belichick and the Patriots part ways, 24 years. I think that for folks that aren't Patriot fans, they might not realize the gravity of this, but talk a little bit about the fact that Bill Belichick, after all those years and all that success in New England, now steps down. And what do you think is next for him, and what does this mean overall for the Patriot organization moving forward?
Yeah, more than 2 decades, 6 Super Bowls, all the success. I mean, just his legacy in New England is everlasting. He's arguably the best coach of all time. And it really struck me that both Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick said that it was mutual agreement to part ways. So both sides really kind of came to the conclusion that they just needed to move on to, other things. And for Bill Belichick, even though he's in his 70s, 72 years old, I still believe he still has some coaching years left in the tank, especially when he's only 15 wins away from surpassing Don Shula in the all-time wins record. So I believe that, teams like the Atlanta Falcons, teams like the LA Chargers, teams like the Washington Commanders, those teams could be in play for Bill Belichick's services. It's crazy to think that within a 24-hour time period, we've seen Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, and Bill Belichick all either retire or part ways and leave their franchises. I mean, those are three of the best coaches of all time.
Well, question for you on that one, too, because obviously Belichick had full control in New England. Wherever his next stop, whether it's LA or Atlanta or Washington, do you think that that's going to be something that he's going to insist on again? Or do you think at this point in his career he might be okay just being the coach, getting those 15 wins, and just sticking around the game?
So there's rumors circulating out there that Bill Belichick, even before he mutually decided to part ways in New England, that he was willing to relinquish GM responsibilities. And I think that is the right move, especially at this point of his career. I mean, he's been in the NFL a long time. He's in his 70s. He needs to be able to accept the ability to adapt to today's NFL game and also relinquish some of the power. In New England, especially in his later years, his GM ability was suspect at best, questionable at best. I mean, you look at it, the players that the Patriots have drafted, you look at the players that they were able to retain, you look at the players that they acquired in free agency. It leaves a whole lot to be desired. So Bill Belichick as a GM, not really very good, I could say. And, when you compare his ability as a GM to his ability as a head coach, I think his head coaching prowess far exceeds his prowess as a GM. I mean, he's mediocre at legacy at best as a GM, in my opinion. So I do believe when it's all said and done, Bill Belichick's days as GM are probably over, especially if he lands another head coaching opportunity.
Yeah, and it's interesting with Bill Belichick because obviously the Super Bowls, as you mentioned, 6 Super Bowls, all the winning he did in New England. But you look at coaches and sort of their legacy, and you think about Bill Belichick, the coaching tree, that's a really mixed bag, as we know, as many of the coaches that have left him to gone on to try to do their own thing have not as been successful. Matt Patricia, Josh McDaniels, those guys. But what else is it about Bill Belichick and his time as an NFL coach that you think he'll be remembered for? What is that part of that legacy?
Well, you just look at his success as a defensive-minded coach. The Patriots have always had really good defenses. Even this year, in a terrible season where they were one of the worst teams in the NFL, the Patriots' defense was still one of the best in the league. His ability to be the ahead of a dynasty with Tom Brady and in different eras. I mean, had a dynasty for 20 years, 6 Super Bowls in those years. So, and then his legacy, like you just mentioned, his coaching tree. He has a lot of coaches around the National Football League that worked under him, whether it's head coaches, assistant coaches, and coordinators. So he's had an everlasting impact in the game that goes far beyond the amount of Super Bowls and the wins that he was able to accumulate.